The human enters the forbidden zone. The stars outside the window were cold and silent. Jack Kellen, a human salvager, leaned forward in his small cockpit. His ship, the Emberlight, drifted quietly at the edge of a red zone, a forbidden area of space. Many ships had vanished here. The wreckage from an old war still floated like ghosts. No one came this deep anymore. It was said to be cursed. But Jack needed parts, fuel, anything valuable. He didn't care about ghost stories. His scanner beeped, a weak signal. Faint, almost gone. He adjusted the frequency. Help. Us. The voice was soft, scared. Not human, definitely alien. Jack sat back, eyes narrowing. A distress call? Here? After all this time? He checked the coordinates. The signal came from a half-destroyed alien warship, its side torn open, drifting among broken satellites and blackened metal. The wreck had no name, no ID, and no lights, and just silence. Jack's fingers hovered over the controls. He knew it was dangerous, but something pulled at him. A voice, a feeling, like someone needed him. He grabbed his helmet. Let's take a look. His boots echoed as he stepped into the wrecked corridor. It was dark. Dust floated in the air. Sparks flickered from broken wires. Everything smelled of rust, fire, and something old. He held his flashlight high, sweeping across cracked walls and fallen beams. Symbols written in an alien language glowed faintly. He moved deeper. Suddenly he heard it again. Soft, broken, a whisper. Please. Jack froze. He turned slowly. The sound came from behind a sealed door at the end of the hallway. The panel was cracked but still powered. With a few taps, he bypassed it. The door hissed. It opened slowly. And what he saw made his heart stop. Inside the room, chained to the wall, were two alien women. Their skin was bruised, their eyes wide with fear. Metal collars wrapped tightly around their necks, and thick chains held their arms. They were barely dressed, just torn rags to cover them. Their bodies shook. One of them, tall with silver skin and glowing blue eyes, looked at him like he was a ghost. Are you real? She asked in a broken voice. Jack stepped inside. Carefully. I'm real. I'm human. My name's Jack. The second woman, smaller with golden eyes and soft violet skin, tried to pull herself up. Her voice trembled. You're not one of them. Please, help us. You're our only hope. Jack stared at them. He couldn't believe it. Who did this to you? They looked at each other. The silver-skinned one spoke. We were warriors once, fighters, but our own kind. They betrayed us, sold us, locked us here, left us to die in the dark. Jack looked around the room. Old food trays, bloodstains, broken chains. This place was a prison. But why? He asked. The golden-eyed woman said, because we disobeyed. We refused to be gifts for their leaders, so they made us examples. Jack felt his jaw tighten. This wasn't just a salvage mission now, this was something else. He stepped forward and checked their chains. I can't break these with my hands, I'll need tools. You're not leaving? The silver one asked, her voice almost breaking. Jack looked at her and shook his head. I'll come back, I promise. Before he turned to leave, the golden-eyed woman grabbed his arm weakly. Her fingers were cold. They said no one would come, that we would die forgotten. Jack leaned closer and whispered, not today. He stepped out of the room and sealed the door behind him. His heart was racing. These women were not just survivors, they were abandoned, tortured, and now, he was their only chance. As he moved quickly through the wreck, one thought echoed in his mind. What kind of monsters would do this and leave them chained in the dark? But Jack didn't know. Something worse still waited deep inside the ship. Something was watching him. Something wasn't happy he found the prisoners. The chains were meant to break their spirits. Jack returned to his ship fast, heart pounding. The warship felt cursed. Its walls whispered with old pain. But those two alien women, they were real. They were alive. And they were suffering. Inside the ember light, he opened a metal case. He grabbed a fusion torch, medkit, and a small plasma cutter. He checked the charge level. It had just enough power to break the chains. He wasn't sure if it would be enough for all of them. Still, it would have to do. He looked back once at his small ship. "Don't leave without me," he whispered with a weak smile, and then re-entered the wreck. The alien women were still there, still chained, still afraid. When the door opened again and they saw him, real, solid, back, they gasped. "You came back," whispered the golden-eyed one, tears forming. "I said I would," Jack replied softly. "Now let's get you out." He knelt beside the silver-skinned woman first. Her name, she said earlier, was Saralyn. He could see the damage, clearly now. Her skin was bruised around the neck and wrists. He aimed the cutter. "This might get hot," he warned. She nodded slowly, trembling. With a flash of blue light, the cutter sliced through the metal shackle. Sparks danced. The chain snapped open. Saralyn fell forward, but Jack caught her. She gasped. "The chain! It's gone! You're free," he said. He moved to the golden-eyed one. "Kayla." She flinched as the torch sparked, but didn't pull away. When her chains fell, she simply collapsed. Her arms wrapped around Jack's legs as she wept. "You don't know what this means," she whispered. "We thought we would die here. Every time the ship groaned, we thought it was death coming. But it never did. Just silence. And darkness." Jack helped them both sit up. He opened the med kit and sprayed antiseptic mist on their wounds. "Why were you left here?" he asked again. Kayla blinked. "Because we refused to obey. They wanted us to become gifts for the warlords. But we were soldiers, not toys. They beat us," Saralyn added. "When we refused again, they chained us here and told the crew to leave. The war ended. The ship was forgotten. We were forgotten." Jack's hands shook with quiet anger. "They made this your tomb." Kayla looked. They said we'd go mad, that the chains would break our minds. Maybe they did, but we held on. For one hope, that someone would come. And now, you did." Suddenly, the ship groaned. A loud, metal clang echoed through the halls. Jack stood instantly, torch in hand. The women froze. "What was that?" he asked. Saralyn's voice dropped. "The warden." Jack turned sharply. "What?" "There was a guardian. A machine they left to watch us. It sleeps most days. But movement, sound, it wakes it. Is it alive?" "It is not alive," Kayla said bitterly. "But it kills." Jack cursed under his breath. He moved to the door and peeked out. "Nothing yet. We have to move. Now." "But we're weak," Kayla said. Jack grabbed a spare stim from the med kit. "This will help you walk. It won't last long, but it's enough." He injected them. Both. Slowly, they rose to their feet, wobbly, shaking, but standing. Saralyn whispered, "We haven't stood in months." Jack looked at them. "Then let's walk to freedom." They made their way through the warship's twisted corridors. Jack led with a flashlight and plasma pistol ready. The women stayed close behind him, leaning on each other. Their steps were weak, but their eyes were sharper now, alive. But then, the silence ended. A deep metallic growl echoed behind them. Jack turned fast. From the shadows a red glow appeared, a large shape moved, metal claws scraping the walls. A tall, twisted machine walked forward, eyes glowing like coals. Its voice was broken and robotic. Unauthorized. Presence. Detected. It had found them. Saralyn pulled Kayla behind a broken wall. "Run." Jack aimed his pistol. "Go. I'll hold it." "You'll die," Kayla cried. "Only if I let it win." He fired. Sparks flew from the machine's chest. It roared. Its arm turned into a spinning blade. Jack ducked, rolled, and fired again. He shouted to the women, "Find my ship, it's docked at the lower hatch. But what about you? I'm not leaving without you, just go." Sarah Lynn hesitated, but Kayla pulled her. "Trust him," she said. They vanished down the corridor. Jack stood his ground, and as the machine charged, Jack smiled to himself. He had come here for salvage. He had found something far more valuable. Now he had something worth fighting for. Enemies still roam. These halls, Jack's pulse thundered in his ears. The war machine's blade arm spun faster, and its metal feet smashed the ground with every step. It let out a broken, grinding sound, like a dying animal trying to scream through steel lungs. Jack ducked behind a bent pipe as sparks rained down from above. He had only a small plasma pistol, barely enough to scratch the thing. But he had to hold it back long enough for Sarah Lynn and Kayla to escape. He peeked around the corner. The machine scanned the hall, its glowing red eyes sweeping side to side. It snarled in static. "Target. Human. Damage. Acceptable." Jack smirked. "Let's test that theory." He fired. The plasma bolt struck the machine's neck. It stumbled, but didn't stop. Its claw slammed into the wall, cracking the metal. Jack backed off quickly, running deeper into the wreckage. He had to buy time. He had to survive. Meanwhile, Sarah Lynn and Kayla struggled down the lower corridor. Every step was pain. Their legs ached. Their muscles were weak after so many months in chains. But Kayla refused to stop. "Faster," she whispered. "He's fighting that thing for us." Sarah Lynn looked back, eyes full of worry. "He's not like the others." "No, he's not." He came back. They reached the ship's lower deck. The hallway split in 3 directions. Lights flickered and shadows moved. Kayla's heart sank. "Which way?" Sarah Lynn closed her eyes and listened. Then she pointed left. "That way. I remember hearing his boots echo from there." Kayla nodded. They kept moving, but they weren't alone. In another corridor, Jack jumped over a fallen beam. The war machine followed, relentless. He fired again, this time at a ceiling panel. It collapsed. A heavy pipe fell and smashed the machine's shoulder. Sparks exploded. The machine groaned, slowed, and then stopped for a second. Jack panted, back pressed against the wall. He didn't know how long he had bought. Maybe seconds. His hand trembled. Suddenly he heard footsteps behind him. He spun. "Sarah Lynn." She was there supporting Kayla. "You're supposed to be heading for the ship," he hissed. "So are you," Sarah Lynn said, eyes hard. "We're not leaving you." Jack didn't argue, he nodded. "Let's go." But the machine roared behind them again. It was still coming. Jack turned, aimed, and said, "Run." They ran. The hallway twisted into an old storage bay. Crates floated in zero. Gravity. Loose wires sparked like fireflies in the dark. Jack fired a shot at the door panel behind them. The heavy metal door slammed shut. Clang. The noise echoed, but for a moment, there was silence again. They dropped behind a crate to catch their breath. Jack looked at the women. Kayla's lips were blue from exhaustion. Sarah Lynn's leg was bleeding again. "I'm sorry," Jack whispered. "I should have brought more supplies." Kayla shook her head. "You brought yourself. That was more than we had for years." Jack looked down. His jaw clenched. He couldn't let them die now. Suddenly, Sarah Lynn tensed, her eyes narrowed. "Someone else is on board." Jack blinked. "What?" "There's movement. Not the machine. Lighter. Faster." She was right. Down the hallway, another figure appeared. Shadowed, tall, armored. An alien male stepped out of the dark, one of the original crew. He looked stunned to see them. "You're still alive?" Sarah Lynn stood up slowly, even though her legs shook. "You left us here." He didn't answer. His weapon lifted, but before he could fire, Jack pulled the trigger. The plasma bolt hit the alien's shoulder. He dropped his gun and fell backward with a scream. Jack rushed forward, grabbed the alien's weapon, and turned it toward the hallway. "They were slaves," Jack growled, "and you left them to rot." The alien's face twisted. "They were traitors." "No," Sarah Lynn said softly. "We were brave enough to say no. They didn't stay long. Jack pulled both women through a maintenance shaft. With the new weapon in hand, he felt a small sense of power return. They moved through the vents, the hallways, past rooms filled with old data and dust, until finally they reached the ember light. Jack opened the ramp. Go. Inside. Saralyn looked at him. You're coming, right? Jack smiled. Wouldn't miss it. The ship's engines roared to life. As they lifted off, the war machine broke through the cargo bay, too late to stop them. It screamed, clawing at the air. Inside the cockpit, Kayla watched it disappear through the rear camera. She whispered, "It's over." But Jack frowned. "No. It's just begun." He breaks their chains. The stars looked peaceful through the cockpit window of the ember light. But peace was not what Jack felt. He looked at the two alien women sitting in his small med bay, bruised, weak, still dressed in torn rags from their prison. They sat quietly, unsure if they were safe or if this was just another trick. Jack stood in the hallway, his back pressed to the wall. He had saved them from the wrecked ship, fought a war machine, faced a traitorous alien soldier, escaped death. But now, he didn't know what to say. How do you talk to someone who hasn't been free in years? He walked in slowly. Kayla looked up first. Her golden eyes were wide, still cautious. Saralyn followed, her gaze firm. Why did you help us? She asked. Jack sat on the bench opposite them. Because it was the right thing to do. Saralyn narrowed her eyes. Most would have left. We were chained, called slaves. You risked your life. Jack gave a small smile. I don't care what they called you. You're not slaves. Not anymore. He stood and opened a storage cabinet. Inside were folded blankets, soft clothes, and a bottle of clean water. He set them down carefully in front of them. Kayla's hands trembled as she reached for the water. When she drank, tears rolled down her cheeks. It's cold, she whispered. I forgot what cold water tasted like. Jack didn't speak. He just watched her quietly. Saralyn reached for the blanket, touching it like it was gold. We slept on metal floors. They took even that comfort from us. Jack finally asked, Did they ever give you your names back? Kayla looked confused. Names? Real names. Not numbers, not labels. Saralyn lowered her head. They erased them. We were just assets. Jack knelt in front of them, then take them back. Choose new ones, or I'll help you remember. Kayla's lips parted. Why do you care so much? Jack's voice was quiet. Because no one should live in chains. I had a sister once. She was taken during the war. I never found her. He stood up, his jaw tight. Maybe I couldn't save her, but I can save you. Later, after the medbay door closed, Kayla looked at Saralyn. He doesn't look at us like the others did. Saralyn nodded. He treats us like people. Like equals. Do you think we can trust him? I think we already are. The next day, Jack walked into the cargo room. His old tools were scattered across the table. He picked up the broken chains he had cut from the warship. Heavy. Cold. He stared at them. Then he dropped them into the scrap bin. He wasn't keeping any part of that nightmare, not even for memory. He turned as footsteps echoed behind him. Kayla stood there, wearing the clean clothes he'd given her. The oversized jacket hung off her thin frame. Her violet skin looked brighter now, like she had life again. I want to remember who I was, she said. Jack nodded. You will. And I want a new name. Not the one they gave me. Something human. Jack smiled. How about Lyra? She blinked. The name rolled on her tongue. Lyra. She smiled. It feels warm. That night, Saralyn joined them at the table. She had taken a name too, Farah. Jack cooked simple food from rations. The women ate slowly, quietly. Every bite was like a miracle to them. Jack asked softly, Do you want to stay with me for a while? Until you decide what to do? Vera nodded. We have no home, Lyra added. But you feel like one. Suddenly, the ship's warning light blinked. Jack stood. He walked to the console and checked the radar. 2 ships, fast, unmarked, were closing in. Trouble, he whispered. The girls stood behind him. Lyra asked, Who are they? Jack's face darkened. Hunters. Maybe the ones who bought that wreck. Maybe the ones who left you there. Vera grabbed Jack's shoulder. Then they've come to take us back. Jack looked her in the eyes. No. They'll have to kill me first. He reached for his weapon. The chains were broken, but the fight had just begun. Escape isn't so easy. Jack stared at the blinking red dots on the radar. 2 ships, small, fast, armed. They were coming straight for the ember light. He tightened his jaw. These weren't just random travelers. No ID, no hails, no warnings. They were hunters, maybe slavers, maybe worse. Behind him, Lyra and Vera stood silently. The light from the console lit their faces. They found us, Vera said quietly. Lyra whispered. They want us back. Jack turned. They're not getting you. He rushed to the control panel. The engines were already warm, but not ready for high-speed travel. If they took off now, the engines could overheat. He looked at the clock. He had 3 minutes, maybe 4. The enemy ships were moving fast. Lyra, help me check the coolant system. Vera, bring the emergency weapons online. The 2 women moved instantly. Their steps were unsure, but they followed his orders. They wanted to help. To fight. In the engine room, Lyra touched the side panel. It was warm. I don't understand much, but this is glowing red. Jack looked. It's too hot. If we jump to full speed now, we'll explode. He paused. Unless we override safety and reroute power from life support. Lyra gasped. Won't we? Jack nodded. Yes, the air will start thinning fast, but it might give us a chance. She looked into his eyes. Do it. Back in the cockpit, Vera found an old control panel with dust and wires. She pressed the switch, and the side cannons hummed to life. Weak, half-powered, but ready. Jack returned and saw her. You learn fast, he said. I was a soldier, she replied. They tried to make me forget, but I remember now. Outside, the enemy ships appeared, 2 dark shapes in the distance. Jack spoke calmly. Hold on, we're flying now. The ember light roared to life. The engines pushed forward with a loud blast. The stars began to stretch. The slaver ships followed fast. Alarms screamed. Lights blinked. Inside the ship, the oxygen levels dropped slowly. Jack felt it in his lungs. The air was thinner now. Don't worry, he said to the girls. We'll be out of their range soon. But he was wrong. The lead slaver ship fired. A plasma bolt struck the ember light's rear wing. The ship jerked. Sparks flew. The lights dimmed for a moment. Jack cursed under his breath. We're hit. Lyra fell sideways but caught herself. Vera shouted, Another shot incoming. Jack turned the ship sharply. The second blast missed. He aimed the ship toward an asteroid field ahead. Dark, dangerous, chaotic. He pointed. We're going in there. Vera's eyes widened. That's suicide. No, that's cover. The ember light dove into the asteroid field. Rocks floated like frozen giants. Some were the size of buildings. Others spun wildly, fast enough to tear a ship in half. Jack flew between them with tight turns, dodging death at every second. The slaver ships followed, but they weren't as fast and not as careful. One scraped a large rock and spun out. The second stayed close. Inside, oxygen dropped further. Lyra coughed. Vera leaned on the wall, breathing hard. Jack's vision blurred, but he kept going. We're almost through. A sudden warning blinked on the screen. The enemy ship had locked a missile. Jack shouted, Hold on! He turned sharply, hiding, behind a massive spinning boulder. The missile launched and struck the rock instead. A huge explosion lit up the asteroid field. The slaver ship tried to escape, but it was too late. The debris tore into it, ripping it apart. Silence followed. Jack pulled the ship out of the field. The stars were calm again, but inside the air was thin, and all three of them were gasping. He hit the emergency reset. Fresh oxygen hissed into the cabin. Lyra collapsed beside him, breathing heavily. Vera sat on the floor, tears in her eyes, but they were happy tears. "You did it," she whispered. "We're still alive." Jack leaned back, exhausted. "Not just me. We did it." Later, when the ship floated safely, in empty space, Jack brought them warm food and water. He looked at them, not as survivors anymore, but as partners. As equals. "You could have left me to fight alone," he said. Lyra shook her head. "You broke our chains. We're not running anymore." Vera added, "We fight now. Together." Jack smiled. "Then we're a crew." The explosion and the oath stars flickered softly outside the ember light. Inside, all was still. Jack sat in the dim light of the medbay, watching Lyra sleep. Her chest rose and fell slowly. Her face, once full of fear, now looked calm. A small blanket covered her thin shoulders. Across the room, Vera leaned against the wall. She wasn't sleeping. She was watching too. "She never rests like that," Vera whispered. "Not since the chains." Jack nodded. "She's safe now. That's what matters." Vera's eyes turned to him. "You risked everything. For strangers." Jack looked down. "You're not strangers anymore." Later, the three sat at the small table near the cockpit. Lyra had fresh clothes now. Simple but clean. Her hair was brushed, her skin glowing again. She smiled softly as she ate. Vera still moved carefully. Her body was healing, but her spirit was sharper than ever. She had a soldier's strength and pain in her heart. Jack brought over a glowing orb, one of the memory crystals he had salvaged from the wreck. "I found this in the storage room," he said. "It's yours, isn't it?" Lyra gasped. "It's my mother's voice." Jack handed it to her gently. She held it close, eyes full of tears. "I thought it was lost forever." Hours passed. The ember light floated quietly near an unmarked planet. Jack needed time to repair systems and reload power, but more than that, they needed time to breathe, to begin again. Vera stood on the ramp, looking at the stars. Jack joined her. She didn't look at him, just spoke softly. "We were supposed to die on that warship. Forgotten. Erased." "You didn't," Jack replied. "No, because you didn't run." Jack looked up. "I've seen too many people look away. I won't be one of them." Vera turned her eyes to him. "Then we owe you more than freedom." He shook his head. "You owe me nothing. But if you choose to stay, I'd be proud to call you crew." She smiled. "We choose." Suddenly, the ship's console beeped. Jack rushed in. The long-range scanner showed something strange. A delayed detonation signal had been triggered on the wrecked warship they'd escaped. Lyra joined him, eyes wide. "What is it?" He looked at her. "That warship. Someone set it to self-destruct. Remote trigger." Vera frowned. "They want to erase the evidence. Or erase what's left of your pain," Jack said. "Either way, I'm not letting them control your past." He typed fast on the console. He could override it, but barely. The countdown was already running. "Wait," he whispered. "There's a cargo pod still linked to the wreck." "What's in it?" Lyra asked. "Maybe files. Maybe more memory crystals, maybe names of others they hurt." Jack stared at the screen. "I have to blow it before they do. On our terms." He launched a missile from the Emberlight's back hatch. It raced across the stars, struck the wrecked ship. Boom! A soft explosion rippled across space. It wasn't big, but it was final. Vera exhaled. "It's gone." Jack looked at her. Not forgotten, just finally at peace. Later that night, Lyra placed her hand on Jack's. "You gave us more than rescue," she said. "You gave us our names back, our voices, Jack held her hand, gently. I only gave you the chance. You took back the rest. She nodded. Then I want to give something back too. She stood and placed her fist over her heart. An old tradition of her people. I swear an oath to you, Jack Kellen, not as your servant, but as your sister, your comrade, your family. Feyre joined her. I swear the same. Jack blinked. I never asked for, but you gave us everything, Lyra said. Let us choose this. He stood. Then slowly, he lifted his hand and placed it over theirs. Then I swear something too, he said. I'll protect you, fight for you, and make sure no one ever chains you again. The oath was sealed not by blood, but by trust, by choice, by the strength of those who had been broken and rose again. A new life and a choice. The ember light drifted in peaceful space. No alarms, no hunters, no fear. Inside, the small ship felt different now. Not just metal and wires, but something warm. Something like home. Jack walked through the main corridor, with a repair tool in one hand and a steaming cup of synth coffee in the other. He smiled faintly. It had been days since the explosion of the wrecked warship. No one had followed. No new signals. For the first time in a long time. Things felt quiet, and the silence was good. He stepped into the cargo bay. Lyra sat on a crate, gently braiding her long violet hair. Her skin had healed, her eyes were bright, and she wore a loose human shirt with sleeves too big for her arms. She liked it that way. Feyre was near the wall fixing one of the damaged consoles. Sparks jumped and she frowned. You reversed the polarity, Jack teased. She shot him a look. I did not. You absolutely did. She smiled. It was rare, but now, not impossible. They all gathered later in the main room. Lyra had made something, a mix of human food and her people's spices. It didn't look great, but it smelled wonderful. Jack took a bite and nearly coughed. That's hot, Feyre laughed. Finally. Something he can't fight. Lyra looked guilty. Too spicy? Jack wiped his eyes. No. Perfect. They laughed together, the kind of laugh that only comes after pain, when the soul is healing. After the meal, they sat quietly. The stars, outside, blinked gently. Jack looked at them both. I've been thinking. Feyre raised a brow. That's dangerous. Jack chuckled. Maybe, but I wanted to ask you both something. Lyra leaned forward. Go on. This ship, this life, it's not safe. It's not easy. But I plan to keep going. Keep helping. Others like you. People who were forgotten. He looked into their eyes. You don't have to stay. You've earned your freedom. I can drop you at the next colony. There's peace there. Safety. The room went quiet. Then Feyre stood slowly. You said we're a crew. We are, Jack nodded. She stepped closer. Then don't ask us to leave again. Jack blinked. You want to stay? Lyra stood beside her. You gave us back our names, our lives, and now you give us a choice, she smiled. And we choose you. Feyre added, wherever you go, we go. Not because we owe you, because we believe in you. Jack's throat tightened. He nodded slowly. Then welcome home. The next day, the ember light flew again, this time with new markings on its side. 3 symbols, one for each of them. A new crew, a new family. As the ship crossed into new starfields, a beacon lit up from a distant planet, a distress signal. Faint, scared. Lyra leaned forward. Another voice? Jack checked the coordinates. Yes. Feyre cracked her knuckles. Then let's go. Jack smiled. This was their new life. Not just running from chains, but breaking them. Together. The end.